How much is this to do with the structural nature of the Spanish economy, the fact that it is exposed so heavily to the tourism industry, and how much is down to the government's handling of the pandemic?
No, good morning. Yes, as you mentioned, Spain is going to be probably one of the, countries that are going to be hardest touched by this pandemic. And our forecast in the worst case scenario is minus 15%, but our base case scenario is something in the order of minus 11, 12%. So minus 15 is something like a extreme scenario if there is a prolonged lockdown in this latest part of the year. Now, there are, in my opinion, three main reasons why we are hardest impacted by the COVID. First of all, because we have one of the longest lockdown in the world. I mean, we were almost 4 months lockdown in Spain, a very tough lockdown for the public and for the firms. Secondly, our economic structure is composed of very small SMEs, which are being touched hardest by the COVID. And finally, because we are highly dependent on tourism, and tourism is probably the sector that has been, worst impact by the COVID. So these are most of the reasons that explain why we are behaving worse than other economies. Obviously, there is some uncertainty in regulation in Spain pursued by governments, which are discouraging investment as well, and this is also contributing. But the main reasons that the COVID is impacting harder in Spain are basically the three I mentioned before.
Inigo, Spain is set to receive about 140 billion euros from the EU Recovery Fund. A little more than half of that will be grants and the rest will be repayable loans. Where is the most effective place to put that money?
I think that to put this money on public works, as we did 10 years ago, will be a big mistake. We have to try to use all this money to increase the competitiveness of the Spanish economy, promoting public and private sector partnership. And this is where, through our association, we're trying to promote the government to do. There are three main areas that this money should be used. First of all, digitalization and digital transformation of the Spanish economy to increase our competitiveness. Secondly, green energy and energy transition. This is another key area to use these funds. And finally, to try to repair and minimize the impact of this crisis on the sectors most affected, like tourism, car makers, and so on. But I insist this money should be used in an effective way, trying to minimize the impact of this crisis on the private sector.